save an exam. That is what I hope for. Today we will have in our science class revision of lesson number 19, that is our forest, in which we will deal with long answers, question and answers, exercise number D. Few of the questions I will take up and we will revise for it. So let's start with it. First question. Mention two ways in which plants are useful to animals and two ways in which animals are useful to plants. So firstly, the two ways in which plants are useful to animals. What does plant provide to animal? First and foremost, they release oxygen, they provide oxygen, and this is being generated during the process of photosynthesis. Okay, at the same time, plants do provide food to the animals. That is what plants provide to animals. Now let us see what animals provide to plants. See, children, you are knowing that certain animals like insects are there, butterflies are there, honeybees are there. What they do? They sit on the nectar of the flowers and then they help in the pollination. Pollination means carrying up of the pollen grains from one flower to another flower. And likewise, they help the plants in the pollination process. Okay. At the same time, we are knowing that the waste of animals, excreta and other body waste, they get decay first and they get decomposed, and after certain days or after certain months, what happens? This decaying material, this decomposing material then turns into a manure. Manure is nothing but the useful substance which is required by plants as a nourishment for their growth. So what will animals provide? They will help in pollination and at the same time they will provide with the animal. Understood, children, with the first question? Let's move on to another. What is a food chain? Explain with an example. So you have heard of the name food chain. Chain is a link, it is a connection, it is a relation which goes on, and it helps, basically it tells us who is what in the environment. It tells us it's been a linked one, that this will be eaten up by the another animal, that same animal will be eaten up by the third animal, and this goes on in a chain, and obviously it's a chain of food and therefore it's called as a food chain. Second question what they have asked is explain with an example. You are knowing that how the food gets transferred from one organism to another organism. For example, a rat is being eaten by for example, an insect is being eaten by rat is being eaten by dog or a cat, or this decaying material is being eaten by crow or some another animal, and likewise the chain goes on. This is nothing but the food chain. Okay. Now let's see with the D4 answer. D3 answer is very easy. It's about food web. Now let's see with the fourth one. Explain how nature maintains a balance between living organisms or living things. You are knowing that nature is the one which causes a balance. Nothing should be in more amount, nothing should be in less amount. So it maintains a balance. How exactly this happens is, basically you are knowing that various organisms are being killed. Is it not? You must be observing that many organisms they kill. Likewise, I told you in the food chain that a rat is being eaten by a dog. So what is happening here? A rat has been killed for the survival of who? For the survival of the dog. At the same time, dog has been killed by a certain organism for the survival of the next organism. So here what happens? The amount of the organisms remains same. Their rate and birth rate is mean the same, and therefore it does maintain the balance in the nature. That is, to kill and to be killed, to grow and to die. If it happens that the organism just gets a birth and lives on and doesn't die, a certain amount of thing will happen, that there will be an increase in the population of the organism, and it will cause imbalance in nature. Okay, so that should not happen, and therefore nature maintains a balance in environment. That is what has been said. Next question, D5. When you conserve forest, you also conserve soil. Discuss. When you conserve forest, you also conserve soil. The main criteria is we need to save the soil. So here they are saying that conserving the forest will help in conserving the soil. How it will help? Basically, you are knowing that roots are being embedded in the soil. They are being bind, and when they get embedded, they are being held on by the soil particles. And when they hold on soil particles, what happens? Eventually when water falls on them, those soil particles have been binded to the roots, and therefore they don't get eroded, soil erosion, they don't get carried away. That helps in the soil erosion. At the same time, soil erosion is also prevented. How? Whenever rain falls, you must have seen that forest, plants, trees are very big enough. So ultimately what happens, that raindrops, they don't fall directly in the soil. They do get fall up on the top canopies and all of the plant, and then they move, little amount of it falls on the floor, that is in the soil, and thus it prevents with the soil erosion. Okay, understood? Now next question is question number 7, that is, sorry, 8th one. Least 5 ways in which forests are useful to us. See, forest, you are knowing, forest will be helping us in preventing the floods. Okay, they will help in capturing or catching certain amount of water, and thus water will not get carried away and not cause floods. I've already told you how it will prevent soil erosion. You are knowing that forest will supply us with sufficient amount of oxygen, and at the same time they will absorb with the carbon dioxide, which is harmful for us. Okay, they will cool the air and they will increase the rainfall. Okay, they will cool the air also, and at the same time forests will give us various valuable products like timber, wood, gum, and many more things. Okay, so these are what the ways in which forests are useful to us. Last question. Large scale cutting down of the forest have an effect on rainfall in the area. See, give reason. See, if we cut off with the forest, for building up of towns or building up of buildings or houses or something, what will happen? It will surely have an effect on rainfall. How the rainfall will get affected, that is what I will explain now. See, whenever plants in the forest, you are already knowing, they will absorb water. Whenever rain falls, what will happen? They will absorb water. At the same time, what will happen? They will release, because of sunlight and all, because of all, what will happen? Transpiration will occur. I have already discussed what is transpiration. Evaporation of water from the leaves. Is it not? Excess amount of water, it gets evaporated from the leaves. That is nothing but transpiration. So this release of water is in the air. When this released air goes in, like released amount of air is having this, then what will it cause? It will cause increase in the amount of water vapor. Number of water vapors will go up because of transpiration, and therefore water vapor amount will increase. And when this water vapor amount will increase, then this water vapors will together help in forming up a cloud formation in the air, which will further cause increase in rainfall, and that is what we exactly want, is it not? We want a sufficient amount of rainfall to occur. So cutting down of the forest should be surely avoided. Okay, I hope children you must have understood with the revision of lesson number 19, long answers.